What you got?
The hate on Brian Atlas stemmed from, I was hanging out with a girl. We were on a date, beautiful date, good night. And then I bring her over after and, we're kissing, getting our smoochies on. And then she starts freaking out. She gets a text from her manager. It says, I got to do the whatever podcast tomorrow. The last time I left crying. He's so mean to us. He literally screamed at us. There was 5 minutes left. And he's like, you want to leave? Get the fuck out. And, we were there 7 hours for him. We drove 4 hours, there and back the whole time. And then he just so mean to us. I don't want to do it. But my manager says, because he gets views, it's good. It's good for my OnlyFans and for my career. So I have to go, and she starts kind of tearing up. That's where it started. Because I saw your clips and I was like, anyone doing what I do, shout out to them. But then I thought, whoa. This is a baby girl that I'm getting romantically.
Wait. Uh-oh. Criticism is that you're a white knight, bro.
What's that mean, white knight?
You're white knighting and simping for some.
That's simping.
That's simping.
No,
she
totally
gave you the he was mean, and you're like, that son of a bitch.
You know why? Because she's a young girl, and I don't think we should hit women. I don't think we should verbally abuse women, especially not publicly.
Did you kiss her ass? Kiss their asses.
It says a lot about how Andrew thinks of women. To respect them is simping for them, and I think that's disgusting.
Respecting. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry that me and Brian Atlas. Did he make you cry by challenging your worldview, sweetheart? Oh, I'm so sorry.
What I did was I messaged from her account. She said, so Brian asked for notes before, and I wrote in from her account, hey, this is Ryan from Pillow Talk. I forget what I said, but like, you for making, be nice, stop being mean to these girls. So that's what I did. I went straight to the man and I, handled it to be such. I watched, and you were nicer, Brian, which I was happy about. But then I watched that stream, and then one of the girl, her friend Aurora, this was Avery, her friend Aurora, who's very young, I think she's 18, her phone started ringing when it got locked away, and you lost shit and started screaming at her. And I said, F this guy. Anyone who screams and verbally abuses women like that publicly, cute little 18-year-olds that just drove here hours and sat through this just to support you and your show, you're screaming at them. I just think that's terrible.
Yeah, no, those cute little 18-year-old girls is not flying or driving all the way to whatever podcast because they love Brian for charity. They doing it because they know they got a bunch of Sims watching them, and them dudes gonna subscribe to their OnlyFans before they can even get off the lives. Before the tears even drop down their face, they're going to be made $100,000 off selling OnlyFans subscriptions. And they know that. That's why they go on these channels. It's almost as if she values the money that she might make more than she values her own mental health. That's on her. That ain't got nothing to do with Andrew.
By 30-year-old men in the mouth?
That's for their show. You're screaming at them. I just think that's terrible.
Don't you sit on sets where they're getting by 30-year-old men in the mouth?
What? Yeah, that has nothing.
But you're
screaming at people.
But the concern is, you know what? I told you to silence your phone and you didn't. Right? That's too much. The dick in the mouth from the 30-year-old, totally acceptable.
Well, I mean, losing your cool at someone is definitely not cool.
Wait,
right?
I just want to make sure I got this right. You have been on sets. I've watched your content,
right?
Where you say that you've watched these same aged women getting in the mouth. Is that correct?
That is correct, Andrew.
Okay.
I support consensual sex work where they're just their choice and they're happy to do it.
Just not consensual.
I don't consensualize screaming at women.
Put your phone in here and put it on vibrate so that you don't interrupt the show.
If you're comparing them doing their career versus a man screaming at 18-year-olds, two different.
Well, he's comparing the fact that they both require a choice to be made. And if you want to respect the idea that women are equal to men or the same as men, and they can make their own minds up about certain things, then she made her mind to go onto the podcast. Just like she made her mind to sleep with this guy that's 30 years old or whatever the situation is. That's a choice that she's making. There's nothing wrong with her making the choice, but then he's just drawing the parallel between the two choices.
I mean, also, this isn't exactly like Jimmy Kimmel, right? At the end of the day, if the phone...
I don't understand how you have no problem with a girl sleeping with 8 dudes, but you have a problem with her going on a podcast, and because her worldview is challenged, she cries and she's upset about it, and you want to try to pander. She's okay. She's just having her worldview challenged. Everybody gotta be wrong every now and then. It is what it is.
phone goes off, people go shit, I sneeze, I cough. There's a homeless guy playing music across the street, right? If someone up, you don't need to yell at them, right? You could just be like, not a dick, right? If I'm getting a in my mouth, it's my choice. If I'm hanging out and you start yelling at me, I'm gonna be like, bro, I don't need this. Like, you're a loser.
Well,
like, why you gotta communicate via yelling?
Guys, if you have not liked this video and subscribed to the channel, and if you are somebody who breathes air, then I would really appreciate it if you did so. So that's all the people who breathe air out in the audience. If you want to like the video and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Back to it.
Yelling.
I just want to make sure that I'm crystal clear on
Yeah,
this
it's okay.
before I move to your next
I mean,
criticism.
you know,
Nick, could you pull up
From random stranger, 18-year-old mouth, fine. Brian gets a little loud because she has to go get her phone. That bad.
yes.
I want to make sure that we're clear on that.
We're very clear on that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's not that specific thing. It's just abusing physically or verbally women. I don't stand.
Yeah, I don't think that
I
what you
big
do
up
for
my
a
guests.
living. I
Yeah.
don't think what you do.
Yeah,
for,
but it's not physical abusive. You got a woman taking 3 dudes. That's fine. Her having her worldview challenged and her maybe being upset about being wrong about certain aspects of her worldview, you got to come in to save her. But if she's getting 3 holes filled by 3 random dudes, that's just fine. No big deal there.
for a living
Weird.
can be really.
So he yells at women for a living.
And I don't like that.
Well, I think this is,
Go yell at men. I've never seen you guys yell at men.
Yeah, which is crazy because we came in here and you're a very nice guy.
Yeah,
so
you're
to
nice.
see you lose your cool, I don't know if you're playing it up for the show or did you really lose your cool? I'm curious.
well, so first off, I think you are to some degree mischaracterizing the interaction that I specifically had with Aurora. Granted, we have 2 episodes a week that are 8 hours long. I don't commit to memory precisely every interaction I have, although I'd be happy to actually pull it up and review it without fully knowing exactly committed to memory how that interaction went. It could have been the case that her phone went off 3 times during the show, if
you
I
should have slapped her
recall.
then.
So yes, it would have been frustrating.
Just the back.
But
though.
this
Just the
characterization-
See, that's
Yeah, like
I don't
TSA,
even think
like
joking
TSA.
about it is funny.
But so
back. Oh, no, it's too much.
Just the way I was raised was to respect.
Did you
women.
gallop up here with a white
That's
horse?
the difference.
Did you gallop up on a white horse? Is your white horse out there? Do you have it hooked?
That's how you
Is
look
something-
at men that respect
Total
women.
white knight bullshit. Come on.
Bullshit.
Women.
That's you.
women.
That's terrible,
women are
man.
equal to men, right? Oh, okay, great. Unless we talk to them like they're men, then that's too much. That's too much.
You guys don't talk to them like they're men.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
don't
if
yell
you
at
started yelling at me, I'd be like, yo, out of here. Like,
Right.
I'm not getting paid for this. This isn't my job. I came here to hang.
No,
right?
yeah, no,
And-
that's fair enough. And I'm not even gonna act like I haven't seen people on these types of podcasts or the hosts of these types of podcasts overreact. I've definitely seen that before. I've seen some guys get they overreact on these podcasts a little bit. They got a little bit of more control than the women, and when the women start being a little bit passive aggressive, you get what I'm saying. It kind of triggers some of the dudes. I don't know the exact situation they're talking about right now when it comes to Brian. Brian tends to be pretty calm. So I'm not I'm not sure of the specific situation in this case, but yeah, some of these guys that have these podcasts, they do overreact sometimes. I will say, it does seem to be a little bit sensitive. They get a little emotional. Eric F, I appreciate you, bro. For the super chat, $5 super chat. First live, you and Araco are my 2 favorite channels. No, Araco is goated, bro. That man is gone. He's figured out the algorithm in a way that not very many people can. Super smart dude.
And if you're going to lose your cool, I mean, I'm like, dude, like, I don't need you.
Yeah, but if
right?
you're going to have adversarial conversations, which
Right,
is
that's
how,
okay.
which is how the show is pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to get heated.
So I guess going back to the criticisms, you use the term verbal abuse. So how do you consider verbal abuse?
Like if they're on the set and they're like, "Take it." Is that verbal abuse?
Take it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're like
Oh, you
shooting.
mean
Yeah.
No. You see, okay. So just so you know, Andrew.
Is that verbal abuse?
no. But when they're shooting, how it works, just so you know, is it's very safe, happy environment where
Oh, yeah.
you go over what they want, what they don't want, the no's, safe words, all this and that. And then there's always a director on
That's
set.
very nice of them.
Yeah. So
Before they go and cream this girl's face with 8 guys, and she's going to have that video out for the rest of her life. Before they do that, they want to make sure that they know her no words.
Yeah,
Got to make sure. Oh, it's too much. That's one too many, right?
They're there because they want to be there. It's a safe environment. It's their choice to be there, and that's all that matters. It's what they want to do, and it's their choice.
I mean, wanting it, there's
shouldn't-
nothing wrong with
I
that.
don't think that that's all that matters.
You
I
shouldn't
think
shit
that,
on someone.
I think that we basically outlaw all sorts of behavior that people want to do because it's really bad behavior.
Absolutely, because just because something is legal doesn't mean it's not exploitative, and there are certain practices that can be exploitative that you got to protect people from. Because the truth of the matter is, bro, there's a lot of people that when you go on Facebook, they share them prayer hands. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all remember when Facebook was at its peak, and it would be like this post and share this post if you love God or you love Satan or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of people that have that level of thinking where they feel like, yeah, I got to repost this or I hate Jesus Christ. So there's a lot of people in our society that need to be protected from being exploited. And I think that, yeah, if you're a woman and you're on camera sleeping with 5 different dudes, there's a big chance that you have some type of mental illness to some degree. And you are exploiting that person. And the women are also exploiting the guys. When you got a guy that's burning out his credit card, got to get a second mortgage on his house because he's trying to fund this OnlyFans girl's lifestyle. Yeah, that's exploitative too. Absolutely. 110%. Are you Christian? I'm slowly finding my way back that way, you could say. Daddy issues. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's definitely exploitative, and it doesn't benefit society at all. Outside of just saying freedom schmeedom, you can't really make an argument for why pornography should be legal. You really can't, morally, not legally, just morally. Appreciate your hard work. Keep up the work. Also, happy birthday to you, brother. I appreciate you, man. P Funk, $10 super chat. Appreciate you, dog. But yeah. There are a lot of things that could be exploitative. Like you don't allow companies to buy people's organs, even though they're willing participants in selling their organs. You understand that some people might be in horrible financial situations, and this could be easily exploited by multi-billion-dollar companies. So yeah, there are regulations in place to protect people from just being exploited, and I definitely believe that the porn industry it takes advantage, it exploits people, male and female. I mean, people agree to it, but at the same time, it definitely exploits people.
Firstly, they keep on saying to them, well, why don't you talk to guys like this? Why don't you talk to men the way that you talk to the girls? Well, you guys are men, aren't you? I mean, debatable, but for the sake of the video, you guys are men, and they're talking to you just as adversarially. Secondly, I don't know if these guys really think through their worldview very often. I don't think they do. I can imagine that having sex with OnlyFans girls and making friends with celebrities and getting a little section in the club, the ones with the red rope that make you all exclusive, probably consume their thoughts. But to sit there and virtue signal and act like you are defending the honor of the OnlyFans girls is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
And take it from me, guys. Anybody who watches the channel will know that I'm nobody's choir boy. I've done all the bad things, all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I have danced with the devil many times. But when I did engage in degenerate behavior, it wasn't because I was just such a chill guy and such a nice dude and wanted everybody to be happy and free. No, it's because I was mentally and spiritually weak and was a total slave to my desire. And when you're in that state and when your life isn't guided by any sort of duty or higher principles, it's so easy for a man to become, as Joe Rogan calls it in his recent Netflix special, a full-time cum salesman. And just like the male social justice warriors, for these guys, this is just simply a way of selling their product. They get some internet fame and they appeal to the female desire to be safe and comfortable and told that everything you're doing is great and fine and just have fun and be free. And those guys on the whatever podcast, the ones who call you degenerates, they're just insecure and they hate women. And you're my baby girl and I care about you so much. I'm empowering you. Now come over here.
Baby girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've been there. I know the game. They're full of shit. And just before we get into the next part, if you had a daughter.
Yeah, baby girl, that guy who made you cry by telling you not to sleep with 3 men at once that you don't even know, he's bad, but I'm the good one because I'm telling you that he's bad. That makes me the good one. Just because I say that he's bad, I'm the good guy. Come on, baby girl, come do this scene with 5 other guys. But I'm the one who cares about you, of course. He's the mean guy because he says words. It's crazy.
In her late teens, early 20s, and she's standing at the fork in the road, struggling to stave off the immense social pressure that comes with modernity to become a degenerate. Would you rather her have a 5-hour conversation with Andrew, a guy whose wife and daughters love and respect him, who is an uncompromising Christian and might hurt her feelings, or with a cheap cum salesman? I know what I'd choose. And honestly, as a guy who lost his dad at a young age, I wish that I had somebody to put me in my place when I was younger. I wish that I had somebody who tore my worldview apart and just told me how much of a piece of shit I was. Maybe if that happened by now, I'd be on a homestead raising a bunch of kids. But anyways, moving on, let's watch as Andrew proceeds to extract their worldview effortlessly and clinically. Normally, there's a lot of resistance and obfuscation, but not really with these guys. And after this, I'll break down some of Andrew's debate tactics. Remember, hide your kids, hide your wife. This one gets graphic.
So do your beliefs and all this stem from a religious background, or just like you just personally look at it and go like, that's gross,
I look
that
at it
shouldn't
both
belong?
ways. So one, I would say it's sinful, but I would never be able to convince you guys of that. I wouldn't even bother trying.
Well, yeah.
But what I can look at is I can look at the societal damage and how horrific it is mentally on women to be involved in sex work, and none of them end up with a good result.
But why do you care about these
basically, ever.
people
Because
if they're nobodies?
Because this is the society I live in.
Right, but I don't
Because-
care about
because-
anyone.
Because here's what I would hope.
That's a crazy take, boys. That's a crazy take, boys. Why do you care about these people? They're just nobodies. These are the good guys, by the way. These are the good guys.
I would never get it from you guys, right? But here's what I would hope and wish more than anything. That I'd be driving down the road in my shitty car and the tire goes and bam, I hit a rock and I'm dead. My daughters are orphaned, right? And they're struggling. And one of their friends goes, hey, you know what? You could go to this shoot and suck a dick and they'll pay you 20 grand. And she goes, you know what? That sounds like easy money. I wish to God before they walk in that studio, somebody like me would be like, no, don't do that. Do anything but that. Work as a barista. Go do anything but this.
Right. But
That's what I would hope, but that's not the world we live in.
look, I'm not going to debate you on that. But if someone chooses to go into that, it's like, I mean, working at Starbucks is arguably more degrading to your body
Yeah, they could
than
choose-
taking 8 cocks.
Yeah, why can't somebody
Working at Starbucks is more degrading than taking eight Johnsons. Hell of a philosophy to live by. It's crazy. That's a crazy thing to even say as a grown ass man. You a grown ass man.
choose to f- a dead body?
Well, they can.
Then do you have any moral?
I mean, working at Starbucks is arguably more degrading to your body
Yeah, they could
than
choose-
taking 8 cocks.
Yeah, why can't somebody choose to f- a dead body?
Well, they can.
Then do you have any moral qualms with that?
Nope, because the body's dead.
so,
No one's getting hurt.
so it's fine.
Who's getting hurt?
So if they walk over and they grab roadkill off the road and start f***ing it, you have no moral objection to that.
None.
No. Hang on, I just want to make sure I got this clear. Okay. Me believing in God to you is a mental health issue, but a dead body.
Also a mental health issue.
No,
I agree.
Wait. Why is that a mental health issue?
It is.
You
It's
have
weird.
you have no moral issues with it at all.
Well, yeah. I don't really give a shit about it. But I also don't
See,
care that
what
you believe in
he's
God.
doing
But if
now,
you don't
'cause I
affect
see
me.
people in the comments talking about the whole dead body thing. What he's doing now is questioning their worldview, because what they're saying is, as long as no one's harmed, then you should be able to do whatever you want as long as it makes you happy. If it doesn't harm anyone, so can you sleep with a dead body with that moral consistency? It's just pushing the moral consistency to the edge to see how it would withhold if it were to be applied to a society. And you'll find that when it comes to a lot of people who are more hedonistic and they believe that you should just act on your own impulses, do whatever makes you happy as long as you don't harm others, is they have a hard time applying that to society that's going to sustain itself. Because to be fair, for us to exist as a society, we're only going to be as successful as our common denominator. So we're only going to be as successful as the people in the society that we're in. And if you have a society where people just believe in this type of, hedonism, it's not going to be able to sustain itself, because you have to be able to go against what you want or your pleasures in order to have a cohesive society. You can't have both of them. So that's all he's doing. He's just pushing their argument to the edge. If everybody should be able to do whatever they want to do, as long as it doesn't harm anybody, can you sleep with a dead body? I've also heard, can you sleep with animals? And then people will make the argument, well, no, because that would harm the animal. And then you make the argument, well, we kill animals. So why wouldn't you be able to sleep with them under the worldview that anybody should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not harming anybody? So that's all he's doing. He's testing their worldview.
Yeah, but if I did implement those morals of you can't dead body because gross and immoral.
But what's gross?
Hang on.
Anal sex?
But immoral to have sex with a dead body, you would say what? You're hurting my bodily autonomy? Like that's too much for you? Is that one line too much?
Hey, we did not come here to debate dead people. That
No,
is
I'm just asking. So let me ask this. Can I just ask you a question, dude? Where does sex stop being gross or start being gross for you?
Yeah, so I'm not making an ick argument. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what type of sexual intercourse with a female is going to be gross or not gross, or tasteful or not tasteful. I don't think it's really relevant. What is relevant, though, is that to say that we can put no restrictions on consenting sex insane. We do it all the time. For instance, do you think that a brother should be able to f his sister?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Why?
so.
Because it's gross. Yeah, but that's my opinion. But guess what? Someone else is going to think that's okay.
Is it immoral?
Is it immoral? According to today's society, sure, but half the world does it.
Yeah, do you think it's immoral?
I think it's immoral to a lot of things in this world.
Yeah, is that immoral or not?
Is that immoral? What's immoral to you? Where do you get your morals?
Well,
they're invented by man, right? Morals, right? They're not where they passed down to you by God.
If it's just subjective, right?
Yeah.
Then I don't know how you call anything immoral ever.
That's what. So there you go. Like
if you think it's
someone could
subjective.
find sitting next to a sex doll immoral.
So then from your worldview, then you have to understand what that would mean. That would mean that you couldn't say serial killers were immoral. You couldn't say that child underage diddlers were immoral. You couldn't say anything was immoral if your claim is we just make up morality.
We do make up morality.
Well, then if we do just make up morality, you have no objective metric for which to call anything immoral ever.
That's kind of how
so
shit
then
works. Right?
Nothing anything does is immoral.
It just depends on society standards. And right now, having 8 in your mouth isn't illegal.
So if society says
one day if they do, then it is.
I just want to make sure that we're clear in your worldview. Then if society says that you can diddle kids, totally moral.
No.
What do you mean? No,
I don't think so.
Wait, why not?
Absolutely not.
Because I can disagree with things too, but I don't
What
disagree
would
with
the
a person
basis-
taking 8.
What would the basis be to make the disagreement if it's just a subjective metric?
If murder was legal, I still would be like, oh, that's kind of whack.
Why?
Because just doesn't feel right. Just how seeing a girl take 8 doesn't feel right for you. This is a personal opinion.
So can you legislate based on it doesn't feel
No,
right?
you can't. That's why.
Then
this
why do you
country-
legislate
And that's the issue with secularism that he's pointing out. He's attacking the weakest part of secularism. The weakest part of secularism is they believe that everybody should be able to create their own morality of right and wrong. That's the weakest aspect of secularism. And if you have a system where everybody creates their morality based on what's right and wrong, then you have to really challenge that. What do people consider to be right and wrong? Because oftentimes you'll find that what people consider to be right and wrong will just justify the things they enjoy to do. Even if they know in their heart of hearts that it's actually wrong, they'll still try to justify it. That's what you'll find. So that's all he's doing, is just challenging their worldview and attacking the weakest point of the secularist worldview or the hedonistic worldview. And it's that if you apply it to the society that you live in, it'll probably crumble because you can't exist in the way that they're promoting.
Murderers and kid diddlers.
We're not with the
Dude, I don't make the rules.
Would you?
No.
You wouldn't?
No, because I'm a piece of shit.
You
so you wouldn't listen to me.
So you wouldn't legislate against kid diddlers?
Oh, I would do that.
Okay, well then if you would do that, then you would
Sure.
legislate based on it gives me the ick, right?
It would be based on the fact that a child can't make up its own decisions and it's a child.
Yeah, but your entire basis for what is moral,
Mhm.
you just told me,
Mhm.
is based literally on your subjective metric of your preference if I don't like it.
For me, yeah, we
Yeah.
all have, it's called morals. Like we have our own, right?
So
Like,
if you have your own morals,
yes,
you say that the kid diddler bad,
yes,
then you would legislate against it based on your own morals.
sure,
Why couldn't I legislate on this thing I say
you
is bad
can
based on
Dude,
my morals?
I'm not, but I don't care about your opinion, just like you don't care about mine.
Well, no. See, I do.
You care about
Because
my
we
opinion?
live in-
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
But
unfortunately,
you don't know who I am until we just met.
You can vote. If everybody just has these kind of subjective metrics for what is moral, and it's all just coming from our own personal preference or purview or this or that, they have no basis to say, one, that anything is immoral, or two, that me legislating any of my morals would be any worse than you doing it. So if I say sex work is unequivocally evil and bad, you would have no basis to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. But I don't care about your
Then
opinion.
that's
I can
the-
discuss that.
Then that's the debate.
Yeah,
So if the debate is just, sure, if you and the rest of you Christian populists outlaw sex work, more power to you.
Hey, if you get the job done, God bless you.
So what Andrew's done there, which he normally does in debates, is he's extracted their worldview and just taken it to its logical conclusion.
That's why
Then
this
why do you
country's-
legislate against murderers and kid diddlers?
dude, I don't make the rules.
And when he does this, he barely even has to give a counter argument. I mean, it's powerful when he does, but what they say alone is enough to bury themselves.
The body's dead. No one's getting hurt.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
If you don't have a well-formulated worldview like these guys, and your whole thing is just do whatever you want all the time, whatever feels good and makes you happy, rather than duties and ethics, then just a few probing questions like this will allow them to walk themselves off a cliff. And sometimes
Yeah, that's a big issue with secularism too. It doesn't tell you anything that you should do. Like when you look at most like major religions, they give you oughts. They give you things that you should do in order to be a good person. Secularism doesn't really give you that. It doesn't really give you something that you should do or like a guide of life. It kind of just tells you to freestyle it. And as long as you don't hurt anybody else, just indulge in any of your pleasures or just do whatever it takes to get happy. And the issue with happiness is unless you're making a lot of sacrifice, you're not going to find genuine happiness anyway. And so what people do because they don't like the suffering that's necessary to get actual happiness is they just indulge in pleasures, and pleasure is everywhere. Pleasure is everywhere. And that's why you see vapes coming back, which is basically cigarettes. All of the pleasures are making a comeback. You got weed is now legal. And this is not me grading any of them or saying any of them are better or worse. But yeah, all of those things are readily available. And that's because people will indulge in those pleasures because now we're starting to lean into a society where people believe that you should be able to do whatever makes you feel happy. But most people ain't willing to do the suffering part that's necessary to actually get happiness. So they'll just sell out for pleasure. Vapes, weed, alcohol, fast food, porn, whatever it may be. That's what people will lean on to get that quote unquote happiness that they're chasing. They'll just fall on pleasures. And but the issue with pleasure too is you're always trading something. Nothing that's that great is good for you. You're always trading something. It always comes with a trade.
it might seem like, yeah, people should just be able to do what they want and not have anything imposed on them. And people should be happy and free and eating ice cream.
Y'all gotta eat this ice cream.
But the idea here is that your actions have broader consequences, and ideas can be extrapolated to the point where you can actually see what it would look like on a broader societal scale if adopted en masse. And if your worldview is built upon the notion that everybody should just be able to do whatever they want as long as it feels good and doesn't hurt anybody else, then you actually can't make an argument as to why somebody shouldn't fornicate with a dead body or their siblings.
Right.
Because, hey, for them, maybe it feels good. And some of these debate tactics that Andrew uses are actually not that difficult, and they're reasonably simple to learn and implement into your own arsenal. And if you do implement this, then when you get yourself into a of these and when
Take this chance to apologize.
on anyone that or
And then for dessert, I'll eat a pint.
interested in to put the lodge and it would be the
This
No,
like this
because-
radioactive argument says if
us whether or not porn should be illegal.
Listening to what I'm
is
saying.
your argument says if explain it
Sure.
to him, is your argument the fact that this industry creates all this waste, right? This
No,
like this
because-
radioactive
Nah,
waste
yeah,
known as
Biden-
CP
the
and
fact that
everything
it
else.
exists at all.
Nah, yeah, Biden eating a glizzy is crazy work. It is definitely egregious work. Biden eating that glizzy is egregious work.
all.
The
fact
industry?
that the fact that this industry exists and is promoted leads to a massive increase in minors consuming this type of material which then leads to the exploitation of those same minors.
Right,
Right.
I understand that, but don't you think a lot of things in our society comes with a lot of bad, horrible shit? Right,
Yeah, I suppose, sure.
like sugar,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But well, you're not out here lobbying to outlaw Snickers.
And yeah, it wouldn't be an outlawing of Snickers.
Will be
Well, so here's the thing. Most people don't develop a mental illness because they ate Snickers. They develop mental illnesses, though, if they're on the set of porn sites and they're getting banged. When
my
you're
dad
talking
developed
about
a mental illness.
when you're talking
working
about
at Ford.
things which are just generally unhealthy for you, human beings seem to be able to regulate their behaviors around these things. Some things are much more addictive than others. For instance, massive campaign from the government to reduce smoking. They didn't have to outlaw smoking. They just did everything that they could to create a social stigma around it. And the rates of it went like this, down to almost nothing. They did the same thing with obesity. They have if they do anything pro-health, that type of propaganda seems to work significantly well in the population. You can do the exact same thing with pornography and sex work, have huge amounts of propaganda saying this is really bad, do anything but this, even if you never made it illegal.
Yeah.
I got it. Let me ask you this. This would not exist if not for men consuming it.
Or women making it.
Or men
What, this
consuming it.
podcast?
Or women making
Where
it.
there's demand, there's market. Where there's market, there's demand. It is $100 billion a year industry. And if this didn't exist, guess what? They would be baristas.
And 30% of it is women consuming it as well. So the thing is that the industry still would exist without men. It
I
might
don't know.
only
I don't
be
know how
40
much-
billion instead of 100
I don't know
billion.
how many women are paying. I don't know how many they're paying. They get the
Oh,
free
lots of them pay.
They get the free shit.
Lots of them pay to
Women
pretend.
cheap out on their.
This is one of the worst arguments made by the kind of pro-corn side, is that if men didn't exist, this wouldn't exist. Yes, it would.
Right.
Just like if women weren't making it, then there would still be gay.
I just don't understand the
You know what crack dealers say? They say someone else is going to sell them crack.
Yeah, let's make the argument of a crack dealer. That should help us. let's make the argument to defend crack dealers. That should help us. Porn to strip the moral foundation out of people, giving women sexual freedom and ruin household structure. Appreciate the $5 super chat, Alex. Well, yeah. He's making a horrible argument right now. Yeah, this is a horrible argument. And it's really interesting because I think that sex work is the only industry where the consumers are called the animals. It's so weird. It's like when it comes to drugs, you're like, oh, being addicted to drugs is a mental illness. And then people used to make the argument, well, you don't have to do the drugs. And then they imprison the drug dealers. It seems like porn is the only industry where the people peddling the drugs are the victims. We call them the victims. While the guy who's maxing out his credit card in order to buy pictures of this girl who's exploiting him, probably because he has a mental illness, or he doesn't have the social skills in order to get a woman, or he's sad, or whatever it may be. There's definitely some exploitation of some type of mental state that these guys are in. But for some reason in the corn industry, it seems to be the only industry where the peddlers of the drug isn't considered to be the bad guy. It's very odd. It is very odd. It is very odd. And they always started by like the women involved. There's always like trauma, right? The women's they're always doing it because of some type of trauma. So you give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. If they hadn't dealt with this trauma, then they wouldn't be doing it. Maybe she just want to get a nut. Maybe she's addicted to attention and she found that she can get a lot of attention if she sleeps with dudes. That's just some people. But they always start the argument by painting the woman as kind of the victim, and in terms of being exploited or being in some type of situation in her life that led her to this, when maybe some people just like to have sex. Some people don't care to be recorded having sex. Some people just want to make an egregious amount of money. Some people value a purse more than they value their integrity. That's a lot of people too. There's a lot of people that do some crazy stuff for some money. So to make the argument that all the girls are just mentally ill or like damaged in some type of way, and that justifies them taking advantage of the dudes that are probably damaged in some type of way, this isn't that good of an argument. Can somebody in the chat just name me one positive of having legal pornography? And I'm not even making an argument against it. I'm just saying like for one positive for why it might be good for society. One positive. One thing that porn makes society better. How does it in any way make society better? Somebody, let me see in the chat. Yeah, you can't. Porn is unhealthy. Yeah, you can't say that it's good for people. Now, you could say people should be able to do whatever they want to do in a free society, but you can't really make an argument for what it provides to that society, what benefit it gives to that society. I can make a lot of arguments for why it's bad. I can make a lot of arguments for why it's bad, but I can't make very many for why it's a net benefit for society.
You know what crack dealers say? They say someone else is going to sell them crack. Right?
Is crack legal?
No.
If it was, would more people sell it?
Yeah.
Argument defeated.
Exactly.
Over to you.
No. That defeats your argument.
Oh, you got destroyed, bro.
No, I disagree.
Oh my God! Listen,
I disagree.
You just
Where there's
agreed
a
with
market,
me.
there is demand.
Yeah, but you just agreed that we can limit the market and the demand, right? Whether it's there or not, it reduces the amount of consumers. If, on the other hand,
you're saying if we made porn illegal, would there be less? Of course.
Yes.
You make anything illegal.
Yes.
Yeah, no shit.
Yes, but you can also create regulations around this. You
So
don't
you're
even have
okay
to
with
make it.
what are your
wait. So are you
regulations?
okay with?
Yeah, please.
Wait. So wait. Just real quick. Are you okay with? Or you're trying to say no?
Yeah, I would get rid of it altogether.
So what are you?
But even if
But you're
could-
willing to be
yeah, even if
okay
you
with
could
it.
meet somewhere where there's.
So where are you trying to
if
meet?
porn
So
was
tell me
legal,
where you're trying to meet.
It would probably be the.
So I would say. So here's what I would say.
Of course.
I'd say you couldn't get rid of it tomorrow. Okay, but you could do some things which would greatly regulate it. For one, right? I'd say you need on the internet to upload some kind of photo ID in order to access these sites. That way you can keep minors off of them. Period.
Do you think that works?
Hang
Because
on.
I'm as a 14-year-old,
Let me
literally
finish.
can do whatever I want.
Let me finish the solution, and then you can
Okay.
criticize it.
Sure.
That's fair, right? Next, I would up the age of which you can actually do this type of work from 18 to somewhere around 25 years old.
Who wants to?
And by the way, they're actually doing this. I know in Texas, you can't even get on certain sites. Don't ask me how I know, just know I know. I know in Texas, they're starting to do, I think in Florida too, they doing that rule where you have to do a virtual identification to go onto these sites. Now there's going to be all types of loopholes, and they're never going to be on par to what these kids are. You be a 12-year-old that's trying to, a 12-year-old boy, a 13-year-old boy that's trying to do what he's trying to do is highly motivated. I can tell you that. So I don't think these legislators are going to be able to stay on top of it per se, but it is, if you regulate it to some degree, it's going to decrease how many people do it. But I know in Texas and in Florida for sure, they're starting to implement things on these websites where you got to like do identification, like a virtual ID, actual pictures of your face, and allowing like a scanner to kind of track or get your ID or in some type of way. I don't know. I don't know the process. I just know about the process. You feel me?
To see a 25-year-old,
27-year-old, right? I would definitely up the ante of when a person could enter into a contract like this for the same reason that you can't go and rent a car until you're 25 years old. There's a good reason for that. It's because you don't really understand the contracts that you're entering into. So this is a big problem.
Can I apply that to religion? This entire bullet points as well. We shouldn't indoctrinate children into religion until they're 25.
All you have to do is falsify it, like I just did with corn, and then sure.
Okay.
You know what? I don't hate any of your points.
Yeah, I actually don't. But your
All
arguments
good
have
with
all
me, my
been your
friend.
arguments have all been these people are gross and this is gross.
Well,
Not
that hasn't been my argument.
I'm not mad at those points at all.
I want.
But at what point in
I
those
want
did you say I don't want 9 cocks in a mouth? Because
Yeah,
that was your original argument.
So no, what I'm saying that was distinct, and it was going against something which was said back towards Brian about a cell phone incident. When I'm talking about, he thinks, oh, it's really mean that you yelled at an 18-year-old because her cell phone went off versus, but I'll watch her get gangbanged by 8 dudes, even though that's going to leave massive ramifications.
I stand
somehow,
for
Bro,
somehow,
dude,
hang
if I
on.
face my girlfriend
Dude.
and you yell at her,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
need
be
a
like,
40-year-old
shut
guy yelling at a girl that I'm
You guys
seeing.
got to listen. Let me get the point out.
Yell at a man.
then
Show me how
respond.
tough you are, buddy boy.
Oh, yeah, instead of 8 men ganging on one, that's some type of like savage, awesome, epic man.
I'm standing for whatever.
Well, what religion has to do with porn is they're just it's a good way to make an argument for why porn shouldn't exist. And most countries that are regulated or legislated using the morality given their religion in that country is going to dictate if their rules on porn. And most countries just don't. it's not allowed. A lot of countries don't allow porn because of because their legislation tends to reflect some of their religious views. They try to separate church and state, but oftentimes they end up mixing and mingling anyway.
What a girl wants to do,
Ridiculous.
she does not want to be yelled at
do.
by a guy. To be cyberbullied, then I don't support it.
Okay.
She wants to go get by 40 dudes. God bless her.
Yeah, so she can consent to go do that, but not get in an argument.
God
Got it.
bless her.
Yeah, not getting in an argument. An argument's
I don't
too
want
much.
40.
But I mean, if you fight with my girlfriend, she's done horrible things in bed with me that these two don't equate, right? I face my girlfriend, but you are mean to her in public. Yeah, I'm going to be back to you.
What is that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But you should expect the same thing from the religious to people.
Yeah, imagine if all countries on earth were like the US. It wouldn't be sustainable, to be honest. It wouldn't be sustainable for countries to be like the US. Most countries don't have the luxury of having the ideas that we promote because they're too poor. Believing that you don't need a man in your life is a very luxury idea. That wouldn't work in most parts of Africa. That only works when you have cushy office jobs with ACs and pizza parties. It wouldn't work in a place where you need manual labor and they don't have street lights as often, so you need a man to protect you when you walk at night. Or you have animals that live amongst you, wild dogs, monkeys that might attack you. Different things. Yeah, in most societies, you can't have a Western view because it's not sustainable. They don't have the health care necessary to get people treated for all the STDs that would be there. So America has a lot of luxury ideas.
People who are exploiting.
And hell, we can hardly even afford to have these ideas, but we still have them.
Women and exploiting men in the porn industry.
Now,
the same thing should apply there.
The religion thing. Back to the religion.
If you're saying because you do this thing to this person, right? And I have some emotional investment here, I'm going to do something back. Well, that's exactly what the religious are saying to you.
What do you mean?
They're saying we have an emotional investment in mankind, and we're not going to let you exploit them. That's what they're saying. They're saying the exact same thing you are.
But they're exploiting you with the religion.
Yeah,
you discuss your body being a cup you're filling with sins, but then you're like, my sins are okay, but I'm going to tell my daughter not to do that.
Well, you know what an analogy is, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so great. So I can make an analogy so you understand conceptually what I'm saying. Doesn't mean I'm giving you the physical reality.
So another significant blow to their entire worldview, especially to the white knighting part of things. These guys do not have a leg to stand on when it comes to defending their worldview because there is no moral justification for what they're doing. Besides, of course, just do whatever makes you feel good and the consequences don't really matter. And that's about to become abundantly clear if it wasn't already. But to the deeper point, I'm very glad that these conversations are happening on these big platforms because I just feel like, and I see all the time, that there are so many young guys out there who are looking around them and just thinking, what's the point of trying to be righteous? What's the point of trying to be a stand-up guy? When it feels sometimes like literally everything is rigged against me. I mean, the guys with the big Instagram followings who engage in all the degenerate shit, get all the girls and are on all the yachts and have all of the fun. So why would I bother living ethically?
Yeah, and I think that's why people like Andrew Tate are very popular. Is because they bridge the gap between both of those guys. They bridge the gap between the guy who has the status and the girls and on Instagram and the body type and, the combat skills. But then on the other side, they also have, or at least they claim to have some type of religious grounding. So yeah, that's the segue. They make being more conservative or traditional seem cooler than just the old white dude with the suit and tie, like that type of image. They're trying to bring a new image into conservatism to make it seem funner, to appeal to the youth, because it's very hard to combat. It's very hard when you're the angel in the ear and then there's a devil in the ear and you're talking to a 19-year-old boy that's fueled by a hard-on. It's real hard to convince him that he should live a straight and narrow life. It's very hard because it ain't fun. It's not fun.
Internet is just so readily available. At the click of a button, I can see some of the most beautiful girls in the world doing whatever I want them to do. So why would I bother having the immense self-control to not engage in that? Why would I bother dating and getting rejected and building myself up to become the kind of man that a woman and a family can depend on when I can just so easily go and get myself off on the internet? Men are getting screwed left, right, and center in the divorce courts. So why would I even bother getting married and having that aspiration when I can just be single and having fun in my 40s? What is the point of putting yourself through all the hard work when you can just have fun, enjoy life, ride the roller coaster, and then die? Well, I mean, I fell into that trap for years, and I think that there is a really clear answer to this. And that is that the life of instant gratification and self-centeredness leads to soulless misery. And when we look around the Western world, we can see the byproducts of this absolutely everywhere. But if you try and reflect the changes that you would like to see to combat the cultural degeneracy that is all around us in your own life, even if you fail time and time again, which you will, at least you'll be able to have a genuine sense of pride in who you are and who you're aspiring to be. So on to the last part now, which is a final nail in the coffin.
Dude, why don't you run for office and change some shit? Because it seems like you guys just complain.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an argument.
No, I'm just generally asking you. You're an intelligent man.
We wake up.
I don't want to get shot.
Brian seems like
You don't want to get shot. The chances are
I feel
literally
like you might
zero.
wake up like, what am I pissed about today? And I just think life is so much better when life is good. Live and let live. You want to suck it, suck
Why
it.
do you think?
You want to do this, do that.
Why do you think that being
Yeah, life is better for the moment until your country is is in decline, and that's what happened since the '60s. We were robust. America was moving and grooving, going crazy, and then as soon as the sexual revolution happened, chaos. It's crazy out here right now. Yeah, live and let live is a good idea until you essentially ruin the chances of your children having a future because you wanted to indulge in meaningless sex.
chill about being a degenerate makes you less of a degenerate. Like this has always been amazing to me when people are like, look, man, the forest is burning down, things are going to shit, but man, I'm just chilling, smoking a blunt. What are you so mad about? Anyway, just saying, like,
I don't get
yeah, just being like, well, because I'm really chill about the fact that everything is burning down, and you're saying we should probably do something about it. I don't think that that's a really good argument.
I just think you're going after the wrong things.
I also think they're just like care too much.
You care too much about
Like,
the wrong
there is
things.
a thing is like caring too much because like you're gonna be dead in 50 years, bro. Who gives a f- if a bunch of people are having
Have
sex?
fun, man. We're all having
consensually?
fun.
Bro,
Try it.
you just got to get yours and go.
You're gonna
Fuck everybody
90?
else.
You're gonna make it to 90.
Yeah.
You
Fun.
did when we all
He's
did.
gonna have a heart attack.
See, and that's yeah, and it, what chat? Every guy has that when you close your eyes. Chat, is that true? You always have that. You trying to go to straight and narrow, but then there's that part of your brain that go, fuck it. You only gonna be alive for so long. Nothing matters anyway. Everybody got that part of their brain, bro. When you close your eyes, you starting to be disciplined, be on the straight and narrow, and some in your brain is always in there. It's that little devil in your brain. I'm telling you, bro. It's always in there, and it's like, fuck it. Just go get a ciggy. One more shot ain't never hurt nobody. You know, you can. Oh, this is a good one. This is your brain tell you right here. Just start Monday. Chat. Chat, that just start Monday, that's a dangerous way. It'd be Thursday. You mess up, you be like, man, I'll just start over again on Monday.
You're not selfish at all.
heart attack.
Do you think you're
Brian,
selfish
of
at all?
course.
Yeah,
Chief of sinners.
You got to
Yeah,
relax,
I'm not
buddy.
perfect
Hey,
at all.
let it-
There's such a thing, right? It's justified and righteous anger. When things get so out of hand and people are just like, look, it. Let this horrible things that are happening just take it. And it's like, you know what ends up happening? What ends up happening is riots in the UK as people lose their minds because they go to a boiling point. Guys like me, we're the stopgap. We're the ones who are like, before we get to this crazy boiling point,
Bro,
let's interject some logic and reason.
let me ask
to
you a
this.
question. I hang out with stars, right?
Mhm.
How annoying would I be if every minute I preach to them about how they're degenerates and need to find God and or whatever and change their job, right? I'm not here to judge you, right? Unless you're doing something extremely f***ed up, like we discussed, CP, whatever, any of that
Yeah, but
shit.
you have
The
a
obvious-
vested interest in capitalizing on it.
I have a
Yeah,
vested
and I would argue that you don't care about them or love them as much as you think. And this is why the term friend almost doesn't even matter anymore. Because if you would allow your friends to sit there and ruin their lives because you don't want to speak up and seem not the vibe, then you're not that good of a friend. And I wouldn't consider you a friend. And that's what happens in these circles. These people will, so just because they want to be told that what they're doing is good, they surround themselves by people that will just influence them to continue their behaviors. Because the same people that are allowing it are the same people that are probably trapped in the same circumstances. And it just fuels its fire, its self-fire. And when I was talking about that Just Start Monday thing, every now and then when you close your eyes feeling like you ain't got no purpose, or you're only going to be alive for 50 years, things like religion help with that. So it gives you a reason to stay disciplined, because you know that you don't only live for 50 more years or get one life. You still have to answer for the things you do on earth in the future, in the afterlife. That's the argument for it. But yeah. Let's get
interested capitalizing on what? The hanging out with
on extreme degeneracy, right? Like that's what your interest is. So
this is it too. You guys capitalize on that too.
The entirety of the opposite.
But
we have a vested interest in stopping it,
right? But you bring them on. As if you're going to change them.
Do you think that I have not gotten hundreds of DMs from different women who say, man, thank you so much. That actually helped a lot? Because I have.
Bro, that's not a brag. Like, if you're like, I got women DMing me how good of a guy I am, like, wow.
They're not DMing me pictures of their dude. They're DMing me, thank you for the conversation.
Oh, you actually want to. I'm the guy who loves women, right? I'm the guy who claims to be the good guy. I'm the nice guy. I love women. Women are blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, you have regular conversations with women and you don't want to have sex with them? I can't believe you. Look at you. You're a beta. He's claiming that a man who has a family, who's married, who feels like it's his duty, according to his higher power, to try to influence people for the better. He's claiming that this guy is somehow lesser than, because when he talks to women, he doesn't just want to have sex with them. It's crazy, bro. And this is why women be so surprised when they talk to dudes that don't want to have sex with them, because every conversation they have, these dudes is just horny. I feel them now. Like, bro, you've never had a conversation with a woman that you didn't want to sleep with? Like, golly. This is why they get told that they should be able to, do whatever you're doing. Everything that you're doing is okay, because the dude's like this. He just want to fuck. That's all it is. He just want to have sex. He's trying to get his meat wet.
Wow, man, I just some degenerate exploitative shit right there.
I just don't brag about the people that DM me.
So I don't really think that I need to add too much. I think that was a back and forth that kind of speaks for itself, and it speaks to a much larger problem.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to Jake at Rattlesnake TV. Shout out to Brian at the Whatever Podcast. Shout out to Andrew Wilson at The Crucible. All doing great things.